That's what I mean, girls. Have we started recording yet?
We're on YouTube, yes, ma'am.
Well, I just want to say everyone looks so elegant.
Well, thank you, World Traveler.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ask the Experts. We are excited to be back with you all. Once again, it has been 30 days already. I know time is just flying. It doesn't seem like it, but we are excited about our topic today because today we get to talk about money. I don't know about you all, but it seems to be a hot topic right about now. We are in the midst of tax season. There's a lot of talk in our government about stimulus payments. There's a wave of entrepreneurship coming through. There's a viral video that's just taking over the country that's talking about where the money resides. I mean, just money is just kind of sort of everywhere. But money has been around since the beginning of time. So it's not a new topic. It just happens to be trending right now. And so with that being said, today's episode of Ask the Expert, it's going to be, the topic is where's the money? So everybody is talking about it, but do you have any of it? So we are going to just get started, dive right in. I'm so excited about our panelists that have joined us today. And if you notice, we have actually 6 guests today. That is awesome. We had some partnerships that decided to take time out of their schedule. We have some retirees on with us. And anytime someone that's retired join you in the middle of the day, in the early part of the morning, you should consider that a blessing, because they're where I want to be. I want to work to my point to where I'm able to retire and do what I want to do, when I want to do it, why and how. And so those are going to be some of the things that we're going to talk about today. This episode and all episodes of Ask the Experts are sponsored by the AK Legacy Foundation. The website is here on the screen, aklegacyfoundation.org. We thrive on educating our communities in financial literacy, business development, and we also provide disaster recovery, because a lot of times people say, well, why are you doing disaster recovery with a financial organization? Well, for number one, no matter what you're telling me about what I need to do, if I'm hungry or homeless, I can't really receive from you, and I really can't hear you right now. So I need to have my needs met so that we can get beyond my emergency and get to my longevity. And so that's why we partner disaster recovery in our organization. It is so very important. And I'm going to tell you guys all about that a little later. So I just want to kind of introduce our guests. And we're not going to, they all have wonderful bios, you can reach out to them. We're going to get to all of that. But the main part of why we're here today is to educate our community. So we're going to get right on into it. If you have someone that's not familiar with Zoom or they forgot to register, that's okay. Send them the YouTube link, let them join us on YouTube. It's not too late. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Our YouTube followers help us generate income for the foundation. So please take the time to just follow, share, and like. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to all of our panelists. Today we have Dr. Dietrich Bishop. We have Mr. Roosevelt Farmer, Mr. LaMarcus Griffin, Mrs. Leah Hall, Ms. Des Morrison, and Mr. Marcus Robert Deloach. And I am your host, yours truly, Ms. Candy Martin. And so I am also the founder of the AK Legacy Foundation. So I am your host for today. So yes, I am wearing multiple hats. I am also the production manager and the lighting coordinator, so I tell people the pandemic has really forced us all to take on an extra hat, and that is to become tech savvy. So yay for us. So we're all on here. I hope everybody can hear me just fine. So Desiree is no stranger to mystery questions. She's been on the show before. So to all of our newcomers, y'all are in for a treat. I always like to pick on people unexpectedly, just randomly, spontaneously ask them a question, and let's see what they give us back for information. So don't worry, it's not gonna hurt. It's just gonna be the fun element of me getting to ask you a surprise question. So we do the mystery question to kind of loosen up the atmosphere, to relax everybody, and to just have a little fun. So right before we get down to business, let's take care of our mystery question. So I have and guess what? I did it a little different this time, Desiree. We're not going to pick numbers. I actually have questions based on you all's industry, your social media pages. I've seen some things. So I decided to take it upon myself to do some mystery questions. So we're going to do 3 now. Then we're going to get into the webcast, and then we'll do the other 3 later. So don't worry, your turn is coming. All right. Our first mystery question, and this is going to also give us an opportunity to meet our panelists, to find out who they are and to find out a little bit about them. So once we get through the mystery questions, I'll get into talking a little bit more about who they are. So our first question is for Miss Leah Hall. The question is, okay, let me see, Miss Leah, let me pin her up so you guys can see it. All right, Miss Leah, it is all gonna be on you now. All right, the question is, why don't we have all of our financial ducks in a row? And that's speaking to entrepreneurs. Why don't we have all of our ducks in a row?
That's an awesome question. A lot of times I think we are caring about other people and doing what our passion is. And so we kind of forget about ourselves. The buzzword or hashtag self-care comes up a lot. And so we don't do our own finances because, we're too busy cooking. If we're doing restaurant business, we're too busy doing makeup, or we're too busy, whatever it is that we're doing, passion of entrepreneurship, we actually don't take care of ourselves and our own finances. So it's unfortunate to start a business and then not plan for succession or not plan for the future of that business to continue. So thank you, Candy, for that question. It's so funny.
Yes, and it kind of leads up to one of our segments that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So let's see who's up next. Miss Desiree, this is going to be, I love this question for you, and I know you're going to rock it. All right. Your question is, people that have a poverty mindset due to whether it's a cultural upbringing or lack of exposure, or they just don't know, how would you invite them to look at the residual income model?
You kind of cut off and I didn't hear the total question. Could you repeat it again, please?
Yes, ma'am, I sure can. People that have a poverty mindset, whether it's because that's the way they were raised or because they did not have exposure to financial options, how would you begin to invite them to look at the residual income model?
Well, there are several ways that I could do that, but the first way that I would do that would be to get to know the person. I would try to establish a rapport with them and connect with them on some type of personal level, such as, what do you do for a living right now? Or something like, I know you have a job, because a lot of times people say, well, I have a job, I work at blah, 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 and I'm like, cool. I say, well, is that the only job you have, or are you open to other means of income, or do you keep your income options open? And because what I find a lot of times is people just don't know, or they have been poorly educated on this subject, because some of the feedback that I've gotten from people is when I pose a question like that is, oh, well, I've heard about something like that, but isn't that a scam? And then I have to go into the questions of, well, what is a scam? Because a lot of people think things are scams when they're really not scams, because of something that either happened to someone they know or something that they were involved in that did not go like it was supposed to go. So now they have this bad taste in their mouth about being in business for themselves. A lot of people don't even know that if you do nails in your house for other people, you can do your neighbor nails, your daughter's nails. If you braid hair, that's a business. You can turn it into a business because you're providing a service for someone. And that person that you're providing a service for, they're giving you money for that. So a lot of times people are just uneducated or wrongly educated about that subject.
That is an awesome answer. Just being misinformed, it has caused such a strain in communities across this country. And so that is part of why the AK Legacy Foundation, that is one of our missions, and that is to properly educate people on not just their personal finances, but business finances, to expose people to the possibility of entrepreneurship. And those that are in business, we thrive on teaching them a better way to do things, to kind of bring everybody up to speed. We're in a tech savvy world right now, and there's no way you can't not know how to use Zoom. So things of that nature, even though it seems small and minute to us, to some, that is a big challenge. And so we are pushing through to make sure that no one is get left behind. All right, so one more mystery question before we begin our actual webcast for today. All right, Mr. LaMarcus Griffin, this is your question. He was like, no, I could see it like, no, not yet, not yet. Yes, it's your turn, it's your turn. All right, your question. What was your biggest challenge venturing into entrepreneurship, and how did you overcome it?
Well, thank you for the question. And well, first of all, thank you for the invite, Ms. Martin. And the question, what was my biggest venture in starting in entrepreneurship? That was just getting started and looking at a business. When you first start, you got to have what is it in it? What is your long-term vision of that business? And I looked at it when I got into the business that I'm currently in now. I looked at to where it's a training environment, and as you go to training, that you learn a lot more about this business. And in that business, you're going to have a lot of naysayers on, well, why are you doing that? I wouldn't do that. But the thing you got to realize is that the person that's saying that I wouldn't do that, or I don't know why you're doing it, have they ever started it? Have they ever tried at that business to say, okay, well, did you, if you didn't try the business, how can you tell me I'm not going to make it in the business, or you're not going to do? So what motivated me to get started in the business is the naysayers saying that you're not going to do good in the business, you're wasting your time, but just don't know. But as I saw other friends that joined other business and they had naysayers with them as well, now the naysayers is like, man, I wish I could have gotten in business with him, a few months ago, a few years ago. So you got to listen to don't listen to the naysayers. You can listen to them, but that can be your motivation on continue to start your business as you grow. And never let someone tell you what you can't do, because you always can. And that was something that I learned as a young kid, to where when I got in the military and people like, man, I wouldn't go into the military for nothing in the world. I wouldn't work in the environment you work in. But just don't know that it helped me for entrepreneurship, because one thing, it taught you discipline to where you stay the course of your business. It taught you leadership on how you diversify your business, because everybody in your business is not going to look like you, and they shouldn't look like you. You got to have different mindsets to position people in your business, because if everybody think like you in your business, it won't go far. So that's why you got to look at to where you sort your people, you recruit differently. And that's how I'm starting to manage my business, to where going out and not being afraid to approach people to talk about the business. Let it be something that, you're inspired to be. You look up to the people that teach you about the business. You look at it to where I want to be just like them. And if you can't be around them every day, look at videos on them, look at podcasts on them, read books, read their bio, and that'll teach you to become a stronger person in your business, and not being afraid to become your own business partner, because you invested so many years in a company or agency, and just to know that you built your resume and build your leadership skills to become your own entrepreneur, to run your own business. And I thank you for your question.
All right, Mr. Griffin has really touched on all of my slides. He kind of just jumped right all the way through some of my questions. That is awesome. That means we're in the right place at the right time. I'm excited. So let's get started. And thank you all for taking a chance and being brave in the mystery question. But don't worry, the other three are going to have their chance momentarily. They're not getting away. All right, so let's talk about it. Where's the money? Well, we're just going to kind of have an open dialogue. I'm going to kind of go through the slides a little bit, and then we're just going to dive right in. And let me put the view where we can all be seen. All right, so one of the first things that we hear a lot is, what is going to be your career path? If you're in high school, that's all you hear. When you get in college, the counselors, the advisors, it's all you hear. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? And so when we're little kids, they always ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, it's always a conversation of what we're going to be, as if we're not already it. But that's another topic for another day, so I'm not going to stir that pot. But let's talk about it. Career, it says get an education, get a job. It has time limit. Entrepreneurship says develop your talents, monetize on your skills, and you'll have time freedom. And then if you're dual, like many of us, you have a career and you have entrepreneurship. So now you got to learn how to balance it. So where is the most money? You know, let's just cut through it. Look, everybody, I just want to wake up. I just want to be rich. Mr. LaMarcus mentioned it. He said training. I heard him say the word training. I'm like, ouch, you know, entrepreneurs don't like to do training. They have a skill set and they just want to do it and they want to make all the money. So, and he mentioned training. So that means it's going to take some time if I have to go to training. You know, so that's obviously not going to give me the money the fastest. If I get a job and I got to work for a company 40 years to get a gold watch, that's not money either. So where is the money? So what do you guys take on it? Just dive right on in. Let's hear from Dr. Deetra Bishop. Where's the real money?
The real money, Miss Candy, and thank you for the invite. The real money is in your hand. It's in your hand. And the reason I say that is because we live in a day and time where the gig economy, that is, people are more apt not to work, they don't want to work long-term jobs. They don't want to commit to 40 years and then get a retirement check. They want the money now. So the gig economy is, for example, Amazon. Anything you want to buy in terms of products, you can order it online from the palm of your hand. And the people who are posting the products are making the money when you go and purchase. The money is also in your house. The money is in your house because everyone has to pay bills. So now we move from products to services. So the money is with repeat services. You have electric bills, you have phone bills, you have internet, you have cable TV, you have all of these services that you are paying for. Somebody else is getting paid. So the money is in your hand and in your house.
All right. And when you said someone is getting the commission, I immediately thought about Ms. Desiree. You're in the travel industry. And so for years, we've all gone to those sites and we booked our own trip because we were, you know, logging in and we, you know, I think I've only seen maybe 2 actual brick and mortar travel agency buildings in my lifetime. So now I moved into booking my own flights on all those sites. I won't mention their name. They won't get any points on this show. But Ms. Des, tell us how, what Dr. Bishop just said when she said commission on the services that we use. I immediately thought about you with the travel business, being that you just come back from, where were you? Cancun? Where were you?
Cancun and Tulum.
Okay. Oh, I almost had a joke, but I'm not going to say that. I was going to ask you, did you see a certain person when you was in Cancun? But we're going to leave that alone. But go ahead. Tell us about how commission is tied into travel for just everyday people. This is sort of a sidebar, but I just couldn't help but ask.
No problem. Well, I didn't know that there was a commission tied into every price as it relates to anything in the travel sector. I didn't know that when I used to go on the websites and book the hotels for my loved ones, for our family reunions. I didn't know there was a commission price tied to those rental cars that I rented for them. I didn't know there was a commission price tied to the airline tickets. I just didn't know. And what you don't know, you just don't know. But one day in 2017, a young man was sent to me. In my time of unemployment, I got kicked out of corporate America in 2017 of January, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I really didn't. I was used to working a 9 to 5. I loved my job. I loved what I did because I traveled a lot as a inventory supervisor for a corporation. So I was in a different store like Walmart, like Home Depot, stores like that doing inventory. So I was used to traveling. So when I got kicked out of corporate America, I didn't know what to do. And the young man came to me, he said, don't you book our rooms at hotels and our flights and our rental cars and all that for family reunion? I said, yeah. He said, did you know that every time you went on those websites and paid whatever amount that was, do you know you paid that company a commission? And I was like, no, how so? And he broke it down to me. He said, there's a commission price tied into everything that you book online as it relates to travel, a cruise, an excursion, a rental car, a hotel, an airplane, all of that. There's a commission price. So if you booking those things on Expedia or Hotwire or any of those websites that we normally use, you just paid somebody a commission when you could have gotten that commission yourself. So when I found that out, I was like, time out, game over. I'm going to be the one to get that commission because those commissions are 70 to 80% of the total of whatever that is you booked. So you just gave, say for instance, you paid $400 and something for a hotel stay. Well, 70 to 80% of that commission from that amount of money you just gave to someone else when you could have got it yourself, but you don't know how to get it yourself. So when I found out how to get it myself, I've been getting it myself since 2017. And another thing about the travel industry, when it comes down to commissions and traveling, you can travel as a travel business owner, because I'm not a travel agent, because I don't consider myself a travel agent, because I really don't book travel for others. I show them how they can do that and get paid. But when I do that, there's a whole nother world to that, because not only do you get the commission for your own trips that you book, you also get other perks and benefits as a travel business owner, and you won't pay regular price like you've been paying. You can travel for pennies on a dollar. That's why I go like I go.
No, we know you go. Desiree, we're a little salty with her because she just got back from Cancun. She had a 10-day stay. And so we just, we was a little salty behind the scenes before you guys came on. But yes, we are so glad to have you back here with us. And thank you for sharing that. And so what I want to bring out of what she just said was that not knowing costs us money. When we know better, we learn better. We save money. So as entrepreneurs, that should be at the top of our list, saving money so that we can do some of the other things that we need to do. And with that being said, I want to ask Ms. Leah to kind of jump in here. And Mr. Marcus, I want y'all to get in. Mr. Farmer, kind of give us y'all spiel on where do you think the money really is?
Thank you, Candy, again. These are some really good thought-provoking questions. And for me, it's all in what you want. Like, everybody doesn't want the same thing. I love education. And, just from being a young child, I used to teach my Barbie dolls during the summer. And so teaching is my passion. So it's like when you do what you love, it doesn't matter the money that you make, but where is the money? In my opinion, basically the money is where it makes you happy. If you can do what you love, it's where it makes you happy. And I'm one of those dual people. I'm an entrepreneur and I have a full-time job, but none of it is working. I will say this, the industry that I am in touches every industry. So the money is in the financial industry.
All right, I hear a little friendly competition. You know, she was like, hey, I'm where the money is residing. I don't know what you guys are doing, but the money is really over here. I heard you, Ms. Leah, put a plug in there. All right, who wants to go next? All right, come on, Mr. Marcus.
All right, I'll jump in. So I think that as Ms. Leah, I'll just kind of follow what she said. It does always come down to exactly what it is that you are looking for. But one of the things I've been able to learn is that everyone has a number, right? But when we really think about it, the average American right now in America makes $31,000 a year, which is about $2,500 a month, right? And when you really start doing the math on, let's say you drive a car, let's say you pay rent, let's say you have children, let's say you have responsibilities, $2,500 is not enough money. It's not enough money. So it really goes into, again, exactly what it is that you are looking for. But the great thing about entrepreneurship, because again, we're talking about career and entrepreneurship, is that being an entrepreneur, there is no cap, right? So if you say that you need to be able to earn $50,000 to $70,000 a year, and that takes care of your family, you can do the work to be able to earn that income, and then you can still go and make more. At your job, they're going to say, this is what we're going to pay you, and we don't care how much harder you work. We don't care how many hours you spend here. This is what we wrote down for us to pay you through our company. But again, on the other side, entrepreneurship allows you to be able to do that. It does require more. And one of the things, again, that I've been able to learn is that not everybody is designed to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody is designed to be an entrepreneur, but there's no such thing as too much money. Like, we can never have too much money. You're not going to meet one person that says, oh, I have too much money, because there's always going to be, again, a situation where you need more. So I would say, again, between the two, it would definitely be entrepreneurship, because when you think about dual, there's nothing wrong with dual when you're doing both, but there's no such thing as balance either. I'm sure everyone on here would agree that's doing both. There's no such thing as balance, right? Because one moment you're tied up in this and you're doing things with your career, and then another moment you're tied up with what's going on in your entrepreneurship, and you can't balance them. So it really comes down to, again, really figuring out what it is that you need for you and your family, and which one is the best route. But I'm all about, again, the entrepreneurship route, because it puts you in a position to be in control.
All right, I like that. He threw us a curveball. He said there is no such thing as balance. So yeah.
And I'm over here laughing because I'm grading papers because I'm a school teacher full time, and he just hit it right on the nose. There is no such thing as balance. But no, that was great, Marcus. I really enjoyed that conversation. You're right. Entrepreneurship brings you the dollars, whereas being captured with a career is just what you said.
That's right. All right, Mr. Farmer, the great Mr. Farmer. Let us bring out the rose petals and roll out the red carpet, Mr. Farmer.
Thank you, Ms. Candace. I love what you got here in front of us. Hey, where's the dollars? I look at this education part, this career side. I think about, there's a lot of money in career side of the business there, in the career side, but that career side is mostly goes toward the owner of that career. Education. Colleges are getting paid a lot of money to educate you, but you're not getting, you're getting a good education. You're paying $50,000 a year to get education to get a $25,000 job. Vice versa, it's just not working out that way. And so a lot of the young people don't understand that, hey, when you go and get an education, you got to get something that's going to take you to that next level. And I ain't found too many education that's going to take you to that next level unless you're getting a financial degree, something that's going to take you out of there. So careers are good. I applaud careers, but those careers mostly for somebody else. I like the entrepreneur side of the house there because it allows me to develop myself as an individual. And that way, when I develop myself as an individual, then I can dictate what type of money that I can make on my own. You know, I ain't got to worry about that education part. You know, sure, the education was good, but now I instead of working for somebody else in a career, now I got time and freedom there. You know, and that's what it's all about. The dual side. Career is great. You know, like I said, I applaud career. I applaud entrepreneurship. But I gotta go this way. Balance. What I call balance is I own that business. You know, so now I can have that career and I own that business, and then I can be an entrepreneur at the same time. Now I found balance in that situation there as a dual individual. And that's what it's all about, balancing ownership. You know, it's good to work for somebody else, you know, if you don't have the knowledge to go out for yourself, but you find balance when you own that business, not only own that business, but, you know, you actually take yourself out of that business and that business operate itself without you. Now that's real balance there, you know, and so you drawing a paycheck, you know, like Miss Dez down on the islands, you know, but she's drawing a paycheck. Now that's what I call balance there, you know, and I love that. And, you know, when you take yourself out of your career, you're out of entrepreneurship, and now you found balance because you can take vacation whenever you want to take vacation. You can go wherever you want to go. You can spend time wherever you want to spend time at. So I love this, what you got here. That's where the money's at.
All right. I hear all kind of nuggets. I should have had a pen and paper. I truly like what he said when he said that he picked the balance. He's making the balance. He's deciding what he's going to do, when he's going to do it. And I just want to say that we applaud careers, we applaud education. I have a son that's currently in college, so obviously I'm on the side of education. However, we're just talking about entrepreneurship being another option. I heard Mr. Farmer say personal development. You can actually develop what's inside of you. You can pull out of you your skills and your talent. You know, when you're in entrepreneurship, you can kind of do that in a career. I know I'm probably going to get some emails later, but there is a cap. There's so much that you can do. I know one year, I'll tell my quick story and get out of the way. I remember one year, I'm trying to think, maybe I was 19 or so. I had eight jobs in 1 year. And it wasn't because I got fired or anything. It's just like, you know what? I don't want to do this. This is not what I want to do. Or I was trying to tell them, hey, there's a better way to do this. You know, the handbook was this thick, but nobody had any common sense when they wrote it. You know, I was like, there's a better way to do this. And I would wind up solving problems and, be like, you know what? It can't be this hard. And I came to the realization, I just need to do my own thing. You can't go on someone else's job who has drafted how you're going to do things, what time you're going to clock in, how long you're going to stay there, how you're going to talk to the customers. I'm all about customer service. And it's like, well, we don't care. Just hang up on them. They're going to pay or else. And I'm like, where's the compassion? So you have to get into your own lane and do your own thing. If you're trying to advocate for others, you can't do that with somebody else's job. And so that's why we're here with the AK Legacy Foundation. We advocate for those. We want to make sure that everybody has financial literacy. And I don't have to worry about somebody telling me, well, you can't tell them how to save money. You can't tell them how to pay down on their house note, how to pay it in half the time. Oh, yes, I can. And I don't have to worry about working for the mortgage company that don't want you to know that. So I'm not going to get into that spiel. We're going to talk about that a little later. So let's go to our next slide. And so I know you all are just ready to pounce in on this. I'm going to start with Mr. Marcus, and we're going to let Mr. Marcus and Mr. Griffin answer this question for us. How are you all working? What is the difference between the two? So we'll start with Mr. Marcus and Mr. Griffin. Let you guys have at it. Tell us the difference between linear and residual income.
All right. So I think the fortunate thing for myself is that I was able to be educated on this concept early on. But I'll share with everyone. I was actually in school majoring in business administration, because I knew for sure when I graduated, I wanted to be able to put myself in a position to work for myself, because I thought I had to go to school to own a business. But I took so many business classes and none of my professors ever talked about what residual income was. So the difference between the two, again, is linear. You go to work, you get paid for the work that you're doing in that amount of time. And when you're not working, you're not making money. And residual income means that you're going to do something one time, meaning you're going to write a book, you're going to record music, you're going to offer a service that somebody's going to pay for every single month. And every month that it gets paid for, or someone buys it, you get paid. And like I said, for me, learning that at 20 years old, I was blown away. And I got a little frustrated because I had been in school 3 years and none of my business professors had ever talked to me about it. But once I learned the concept, I honestly started doing everything that I possibly could to create multiple streams of residual income, which is why I became an author, which is why I wrote a book, because I realized if I write a book, I only got to write the book once. And every single time somebody pays for it, I'm going to get paid. And I wrote the book one time. And also, again, you know, the reason why I got started in my business as well was that concept. So it really, again, blew my mind that I was able to make money this way because no one had ever told me. No one had ever told me. So I hope that covered what you were looking for, Ms. Kim.
Oh yeah, that answers it, and it almost, you know, it almost make because you are younger than most of us that are on here. I'm not gonna say all of us. You're younger than most of us. We're like kicking ourselves in the butt. Like, man, why didn't somebody tell us? So you are at a great advantage to have found it as young as you have. I know you feel like, hey, I should have found out earlier, but we're saying, you know, for those that are in our generation, like, man, we really wish somebody would have told us. And so I commend you. Take it and run it. Don't turn back. That's all I have to say. Mr. LaMarcus, dive in.
Oh yes, great testimony, Mr. Marcus Deloach, because I wish I would have learned that back when I was in my 20s, because I'd worked 28 years so far in a dual career, military and federal government. So I'm balancing, trying to balance two careers at one time. And just a few years ago, you know, you start reading books and everything. Like I probably read quite a few books, and then just start thinking about it. You know, work for yourself. And in that book, it always said, surround yourself with people that you'll want to be like, or want to be like, or got aspiration for, on what moved them to be the way they are today. And so I started reading a lot of quite a few books and everything. And I thought about, man, I done worked 28 years, 24 military and 25 in corrections. I said, it's time to do something for myself. And every year I would think about this linear income. I'm still stuck on linear income, because every time you listen to the news, you were talking about, oh, the government going to shut down, government going to shut down. And I was a government employee, and to where we did go to work, but we didn't get paid because the government was shut down. And I said years ago, this is not going to happen to me this year. And if you look at it, the past 2 years, we had our fingers crossed about hoping the government didn't shut down. And so with that, a lot of us never did get that money back yet. But what we're getting now is just, we getting retirement income. But the other part to it is this, that you surround your people with people that you want to be like. And when you get to surround your people with them, and even if you're not able, if you want to be a philanthropist, read the books on those individuals that you inspire, and read their bio. Look out where they started from. They didn't start at the top. Some of them started midway the down, just sleeping in a car or on a sidewalk, and just got the confidence in themselves and became that person that want to build that residual income. And I can tell you, when you start earning that residual income, when you sleeping and waking up in the morning, looking at, you know, a few deposits in your account, you really said that I've been doing this too long and should have thought about this years ago. And once again, I'd like to thank everybody on here on their output, because it's been very educational and inspirational to further me on residual income. Thank you.
All right. Well, it also the residual income and the linear income, the differences between the two. It's gonna get into one of our next segments. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but it has to do with the mindset. It has to do with accepting and embracing it. And if anything, 2020 has taught us that there are some things we need to have in place. And so I'm not going to jump ahead because I know that's one of my questions upcoming, but we all learned during the pandemic, if we didn't know before, it's almost like 2020 and some of 2021 eliminated our excuses, because a lot of times we say, well, I didn't know, or I didn't think about that. We were actually forced to stay at home, sit still and think. And he mentioned, Mr. Griffin mentioned a couple times when the government got shut down, that they worked but not got paid. And to me, that just doesn't sit right. But you know, I wasn't in that industry, but I do commend you, and I want to commend you and Mr. Farmer for serving our country. We do appreciate you guys for that. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you all on the front line. So it's time for our mystery question.
Ms. Candy, before you do your mystery questions,
Yes,
can I
Yes,
piggyback a little bit off of what
Dive in.
Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Marcus said?
Yes, ma'am. Dive in.
Okay. Another thing that I didn't mention, but it came to mind when I was listening to Mr. LaMarcus. I didn't know that the travel business would give me a residual income check. I didn't know that. I found that out when I got involved. And since we mentioned the pandemic, I want to say this. I was set up in 2017 to be financially fit for the pandemic because of that travel business. That travel business paid me, and it still is paying me, a residual check every month on the 10th, every month. And it ain't no little bitty check. So a lot of people don't know. They think that, oh, you just book your travel and you just get a little something. No, I book travel one time, or I tell somebody about it one time, and I get a residual check over and over and over and over and over again. That's whether I book travel or not. That's whether I tell somebody else about it or not. I still get my residual check. So I just wanted to mention that because I didn't know in the beginning when I decided to get involved in the travel business that I was going to receive any type of residual. I knew about the commission, and that's what I was interested in, getting my commission and not giving it away. But when I found out that there was another side of the travel business where I can get a residual check every month for the rest of my life, oh yeah, the travel business, yes ma'am, yes.
And another thing, when we're speaking, there are so many companies, so many. And we'll talk a little bit about that if time permits. There are so many companies, so many industries that we can get into that offer residual income. There are a lot of products and services that offer residual income. So each of us on here can, you know, we can think about a company, you know, you think about Amazon, think about Walmart. There are so many different other companies that are not famous, so to speak, you know, but that offer residual income platform. So we just kind of encourage you all to kind of open your mind, look into it, do your research. Someone mentioned earlier training, attend some training, get the information for yourself, not what your cousin said, not what your uncle did and what your next door neighbor, what happened to them. We want to get the real information out to you all, that there is such a thing as earning legit money in a residual platform. So let's take our next three mystery questions and we'll keep it going. All right. Mr. Marcus, you're up already. You're hot off the press and you back up again already. All right, so let's see. Your question is, how does your generation differ from the generation before when it comes to entrepreneurship and leadership? How are you all different? And we're picking on you today because you're the youngest person on here, so
that's okay. That's a great question. In regards to the difference when it comes to, I think the way that my generation thinks, one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of individuals my age desire to be free. But what a lot of them also don't understand is that freedom costs. Like you can't just be free and be like you have to do a level of work and get to a level of success in order for you to be free. But also, you know, in the mindset, because most of us, you know, when I remember, cell phones, like it's just the cell phone era. So a lot of us are just glued to these devices. But as Dr. D said early on, the money is now here. So within our generation, it's just a matter of, okay, I have this phone. How do I utilize this phone and allow it to make me millions of dollars and not be entertained by it? Because there's a lot of individuals my age who would much rather use it, and they're just being entertained by it instead of using it to make them money. And then what the second half of the question was leadership. So I would say that in regards to generation, leadership isn't really different. It all comes down to the same thing. Who are you talking to? Who are you surrounding yourself around? What type of information are you receiving? Because again, we all go through the same type of school system, and really, there's nothing against education whatsoever. But the thing about the education system is that it really teaches us how to be employees. It doesn't teach us how to be business owners. So a lot of us, when we step into the business ownership world, is really basically starting all over and having to re-educate ourselves because that's not what they teach you in school. They teach you in school how to be able to be an employee. So like I said, I think the leadership just comes down to who it is that you're listening to. Some are heavily influenced by people like in which their music they listen to all the time. So they'll listen to them, but it's just really deciding, who you want to be able to get your information from. And I think that's really the biggest thing. And then also vision, because vision is way more valuable than money. And a lot of us, people my age, we desire the money, but don't realize that the vision is more important, because if you have the vision, it propels you beyond just the money. So I hope, that answered the question.
Oh yes. I was tickled earlier when you first started talking and you said that they want to be free, but they don't understand it's a cost to be free. And I know that our two military veterans that are on here can actually attest to that there's a cost to freedom. You're not going to just wake up and say, you know what, I just want to do my own thing and I'm just going to be free. So there has to be a level of work there. And I think that's kind of where I see the difference in the generations. I see hard work in the previous generation, but no vision outside of hard work. And in this generation, I see all the visions and all the dreams, but I don't see any hard work. And so, but I do truly believe that it's being brought together through platforms such as this, where we can get the education out there, where we can tell the older generation, hey, use the cell phone. And we can tell the younger generation, hey, get off the cell phone. So I can see it working together. And I just truly believe the next 10 years, we're going to see a revolution. And I thank God I'm on the entrepreneurship side of it. All right, our next mystery question. Thank you, Mr. Marcus, for that wonderful answer. Okay, Dr. Bishop, this on you, it's all you. And I think this is a great follow-up question. This is going to be right on time. Your question is, why is education important to a career path or entrepreneurship, or is it really important?
Wow. Now, I am one of the most educated people in the world.
Tell us about it, Dr. Bishop.
Let me tell you about it.
Dr. Bishop.
Okay, first of all, a lot of people don't know my whole story. So let me just go back a moment. I didn't graduate from high school. I completed 9th grade and dropped out. Then at some point, I remembered my dream. My dream was to be a doctor of something. That was my dream. And I knew I couldn't do that without going back to school. So needless to say, God gifted me with knowledge and intelligence. I'm not bragging, I'm testifying. So when I tried to start night school, my teacher said, no, you are too smart to be here. I left school with 4.0 average. It was family problems. So she said, you go to the courthouse and tell them you want to take the GED test. I'm like, well, I'm not ready. She said, no, you just go up and get enrolled. So I went to the courthouse. I took the GED test, maxed the whole thing out in a matter of hours, and the people came out like, who is this? I'm like, well, what's the problem? Because, I always had an attitude. What's the problem? They said, it's impossible. You just walked in here and maxed this test. It's unheard of. So that was my road back to education. So I went to the university. I started university with the students of my class, of my graduating class. Some of the students in my graduating class couldn't even pass the entry exam to get into school. Here I had missed all of high school, and I'm right here with them. So I knew that education was going to be important some kind of way for me. So fast forward, I finished my bachelor's degree in psychology, master's in counseling and psychology, a master's in education, a master's in theology, a specialist in education, and a doctorate in philosophy. I have 5 degrees, 4 advanced degrees. Now, let me just say this about the degrees. A lot of times people are intimidated because of the much education. But I don't have all of the degrees because I was not educated. What the degrees did for me, they provided paperwork to legitimize the career path that I took. But the career path that I took did not provide the money that I needed to fulfill my vision. Am I making myself clear? Yes. So the book knowledge educated me. The book knowledge put me in a position where when I was at the university, I traveled overseas multiple times. I love Europe. So I did foreign exchange. And then I joined the military for a short period of while. I can't boast like Mr. LaMarcus and Mr. Former, because I only spent 3 years in the military, got injured, got out. But all of the education positioned me for something to build towards. It taught me what I didn't know. I didn't know how to make money. One of my uncles, who was, quote, not book educated, he told me, he said, you're too smart to have a job. And it took years for me to understand what he meant. He said, you should be doing your own thing, making your own money. But I didn't have a track to run on. One of my mentors, Mr. Greg Provenzano, says, you need a track to run on. So I had the knowledge, but I had no track to run on. So at some point, yes, we need some book knowledge and we need some education. It positions us, it sets us up, like Mr. Lamarck, it sets us up for what's coming. But the education in terms of degrees is not where the money is. When I answered my first question, I told you that money was here. Okay, now let me just try to wrap this up. With all the education I had, I was working 3 jobs for a long time. Traveling back and forth to DC on Capitol Hill, promoting a ministry that I developed internationally. Now, I wasn't making any money off this. I was a pastor, and I developed a program as a result of my job. But because it was a result of my job, I couldn't get paid for it. Are you listening to me? I was making a lot of money for a lot of people. And I've spent years making a lot of money for a lot of people. But now, at 62, I'm doing it for me, and it's not because of the degrees. $300,000 in debt with student loans, and I can't even make $300,000 on a job. No, absolutely not. So at this point, I would not recommend, I want you to hear me, I'm telling you, I would not recommend to my grandkids to go to college for money. I would recommend for them to spend some time in college just for cultural education. They need some exposure. So they need some college time, but not for the money. I would teach them entrepreneurship skills. Right now, my 2-year-old, when we on these Zooms, when I'm doing my business, I'm not on camera a lot of times. He's sitting here with me looking. I am bent on teaching my 2-year-old grandson how to take over my business.
That's right. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. We need education, like you said, for exposure. My son, for example, he's in college. One of the first things he did, I had him to do, I was like, okay, so what kind of business you want to start? I guess he was like, well, we filling out college application. What you talking about? Okay, well, you're going to go to college because, you know, he's into sports. And so that's the avenue to get to what his vision is and what his calling is and what his purpose is in life. But at the same time, what you going to sell? So we come up with t-shirts. So that was what he could come up with. And so, hey, that doesn't mean he has to do it forever, but you got to do something. And so I'm a big advocate of making sure that the young people now, because we don't want it to be like what Mr. Marcus said, that he didn't know. And every time I see a young person that don't know, I just cringe because I'm like, dang, somebody should have taught me and I could have taught someone else. So now through the AK Legacy Foundation, that's really our mission. We're trying to get the exposure out there. We respect education. And thank you, Dr. Bishop, for your time in the service. I didn't spend any time in there, so I don't care if it was one day or a week. I commend you. I applaud you. I roll out the red carpet for you as well. So we're going to get into our next segment. Right before we do, I want to acknowledge some of our sponsors that have partnered with us in the AK Legacy Foundation. So every month we have sponsors for the month. So for the month of February, our sponsors were Faithful Gems. It's an independent paparazzi consulting company ran by Ms. Samantha Oglesby. MCDS Management, which is a documentation service, which is held by Ms. Courtney Elsie. And then Black Women Do Heal, which is a nonprofit organization by Ms. Cassandra James Weathersby, where they get in and they deal with some of the matters that are hindering Black women from moving forward. And no, AK Legacy Foundation, neither is Black Women Do Heal. We're not discriminatory at all, but we're just speaking to, we were last. Just think about it. We got paid the less. And I said had, because I'm speaking it into existence. We got paid the less. We were the last hired. We was always overlooked in most cases. And so she developed this foundation that is bringing some healing to that and moving forward. So check them out. Go on the social media website, check out their website. They're doing some awesome things. And then we have, our partner in youth, where we partner with the Yes organization, which is held by Ms. Kitty Isaac Arsenault. They're having a youth challenge coming up, a youth entrepreneur challenge. And I think that is so fitting for what we're talking about today. Go to the website, check it out. If you have a young person aged 7 through 17, it is no cost. There is a pitch challenge. I guess the way I can summarize it would be something sort of like Shark Tank. These young people get to go before a board of judges and say, hey, my product is the best. And there's going to be prizes, awards, cash. There's even some cash involved. I know young people like cash. Mr. Marcus made that clear. You know, young people want the money. So go in and then partner up with this organization. See how you can benefit, them, and maybe offer door prizes, donations, whatever the case may be. But you want to go to the Youth Pitch Challenge at elevateheup.com and get more information about it and find out how you can enroll your young person into, just even if they don't know what they want to do, to get them exposed to being an entrepreneur. And so it's a fun platform, and the AK Legacy Foundation is proud to be one of the sponsors of that wonderful organization. All right, so let's talk about it. 46% of baby boomers, and Ms. Leah, this is probably going to be this is going to have you jumping, I know, because this is in your industry, but 46% of baby boomers have less than $10,000 saved for retirement. Now, Mr. Marcus gave us some math earlier. He gave us the $2,500 times 12 comes out to about $30,000 a year. He kind of brought some reality to it. And I always say numbers don't lie. And so we have 46, but you might as well say that's half of Americans don't have $10,000 saved for retirement. Now, according to the math that Mr. Marcus gave us, $10,000 is not going to go very far because we spent 30,000, we only made 30,000 in 1 year. So I don't know. My head starts hurting, start thinking about all those numbers. So Mr. LaMarcus, you can talk a little bit about numbers as well. And then we're going to also talk about legacy building. I know Dr. Bishop, she just mentioned speaking to her 2-year-old. getting into legacy building. I know Miss Desiree, she does, she's an advocate because her granddaughter, I know, is making t-shirts, I believe. So look, hey, we are all about building legacy. Mr. Farmer, you know, retired from the military. And I don't know, I mean, we need to talk about it. So guys, let's have that conversation. Let's start with you, Miss Leah. Let's talk about saving plans and investment. What is going on? Why don't we have enough money?
So I think you just really said it. A lot of us don't make a lot of money, as Marcus said. We just don't make enough money. So to say that you're going to save your way to being wealthy is not true. That is a lie. If you don't make enough money and you don't have other streams of income, like, you know, we already talked about residual income, linear income, career versus entrepreneurship. If you're not making the money, you're not making the money. So you can save, and you can save your way to be comfortable. Let me be clear. You can definitely save your way to be comfortable, you know, with compound interest, put it somewhere where it's going to grow, not, you know, institutions that don't give you enough interest to let it grow. But to be wealthy, yeah, you need to be an entrepreneur. Like we said, it doesn't have a cap. You can make the money to put away. So you're earning money one way. And then as an entrepreneur, you're putting money away additionally to be wealthy. And so I'm not saying you have to be wealthy to leave a legacy. You don't. But there's different ways you need to position your money in order for it to go to your beneficiaries the way you want it to go. So that's having a will. But, you know, even if you have a will, it still goes through probate. So if you want to have that privacy and you want to have it done exactly the way you said, you need a trust as well. So there's different ways to set up your money to leave a legacy. But I tell you 100%, without education on where that money is going to go, without you directing it, it may be gone with your children. So what's going to be left for your grandchildren? You know, it's really, really important that we teach this next generation what to do with that money. Teach entrepreneurship, teach them, you know, what you're learning now, because if they don't know, they're going to squander it. And that's a shame. So leaving a legacy is about education. It's about saving it in the right place. And then it's about preparing the right documents so that, you know, what you want and intend to be done will actually get done.
Right. So who wants to dive in? Who wants to follow up and be brave to come behind Miss Leah?
I'll add in good information, Mrs. Hall. Working for the federal government for 24 years, I was fortunate to get in at an early age, at a younger age, and landed on a 20-year retirement system. To where when I went in, I didn't know nothing about the thrift saving plan, as a lot of people you might refer to as TSP or 401k. But when I got in, I looked at it and said, wow, nobody really educated us in school about this. But you get to filling out your paperwork and you get to hearing people talk like, well, what is this? What is that? So they said, okay, well, just put down the minimum 5%, just because the agency is going to match that. So I did it. But then this other gentleman, he told me, say, what you do, they're going to, you know, they give you government pay raises every so many years. So, but once you get in and you find that you're comfortable with your salary on what you're getting, you're able to get a little bit ahead, a little bit more than instead of paycheck to paycheck, you're almost like a week ahead of earning a little bit more money. But when they give you that pay raise, max it out to that 10%, 12% there early in your career. So when you get to retiring at 20 years, and just don't look at that account, because my friends had tell me, don't look at that account every year. Don't look at that TSP. Just let it what it do. Stay on the roller coaster. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. Just stay there. So I left it there. So, and then Mr. Farmer down here, the military opened up to TSP. So I said, wow. He came, he said, hey, he's helped me set up my TSP account and everything on the military side. So right there, I'm double dipping on the military side and on the federal government side as a civilian. So I maxed both of them out. So 20 years later, when I got ready to leave the military, this gentleman told me, hey, do a transfer into your federal government civilian TSP because when you turn, if you leave it there, you won't be able to get it until you turn 60 on the military side. So I put it from the uniform side to the civilian side. So both of that money rolled into my civilian account. So as we go forward 20 years later, I'm a baby boomer. I think I'm a baby boomer. So
You're not a millennial. Let's just get that clear.
Okay, I'm not millennial. So I can attest to, if you follow that plan and you listen to somebody tell you how to invest your TSP and your 401ks, like Mr. Farmer hit me out on that part, and someone else helped me when I first started in government, you'll have way more than that $10,000 saved for retirement. And retiring at 51 years old, I can say it's a great thing. And to start on this side, and residual income on what we're talking about now, both of those come hand in hand.
And thank you for that. And what I hear in that is finding a trusted advisor. I do thank Ms. Leah. She has partnered with the AK Legacy Foundation. She is working with us to get the right information and to help expose our generation, whether you're millennial or baby boomer. She's working with all of us on getting, and I said all of us, on getting our finances in order, just having that education, like Mr. LaMarcus said, he didn't really know. And there are so many people that give you these forms, they tell you to fill them out, and then you're like, okay, well, what I'm supposed to do? And so a lot of times we're making decisions based on what we've heard. And I'm gonna be honest, I've even made, filled out some forms sometimes playing any, meeny, miny, mo, because you didn't know. So, it's just like whatever I can put on here. So it is so important that we get with someone that is educated in this area. And then when I say educated, I don't mean they got 10 degrees or they have a long list of accolades behind their name. I'm talking about somebody who really has been through it, knows the difference, that can educate us, who have taken the time to research. So whether they have a degree or not, do they know? What do they have? What are they doing? Can they show you how? Get your questions answered. And in a way with this, not wanting people to know your financial situation. We're going to know when you die. So you might as well go ahead and deal with it. If we got to give fish plates to bury you, then that means you were not properly prepared. So avoid being prideful now and being shamed later. Let's get it together today. And so I don't want to start preaching on that. So legacy building and savings and investment. Anyone else want to add to anything before we go to the next slide?
I can kind of add on. So it was crazy. The other day, I don't know if I was listening to a podcast I think it might have been a conversation. And the gentleman that I was talking to, I think it was a video, guys. I think it was a video. I'm sorry. He said, what you do not overcome, you pass on. He was talking about finances, right? Said, what you do not overcome, you pass on. And for me, that was like major. It was like major because the conversation and what the video was about was, he was just saying that what a lot of people don't realize and what they don't understand is that we, right now we're having a conversation about legacy. So if you don't make the decision to change, what happened before you, then that's what you pass on to your kids. So many people, again, decide to start a family. And there's some people that wait until finances are correct. Some people start a family. But when you start a family, if you are not in the position where you have the correct information to be able to pass on to them about financial literacy, how money works, savings and investments, you're passing on to them what your parents passed on to you and what their parents passed on to them. You're just continuing to pass it on generation upon generation upon generation. And that's why most families, stay within the situations that they are, because no one comes along and says, something has to change here. Something has to change. We have to do something different. Money has to work differently here. And that's why, again, for myself, I even just take the time to really take the time to learn about financial literacy and, again, how money works. Because one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had, and I'm sharing this because I like to inform people when I learn things, was about how banks make money. Because most people have no idea that banks make money when your money sits inside of your bank account. So when you put your money into your savings account, or when you leave it inside of your checking account, when you go and you log into your banking app, it's appearing there, but your money is not actually there. because what banks do is they take your money and then they trade it in the foreign exchange market so that their corporation is able to make more money. See, again, I had a breakthrough because I was like, wait. So what you're telling me is putting money into my bank account and saving it is pointless, because every single dollar that you have, and another mentor of mine said this to me as well, said every single dollar that you have, you need to put yourself in a position where you need to look at all the dollars that you have as workers. So if you have money, every single day, you and your workers wake up and your money should be working for you, because when your money begins to work for you, you're no longer in a position where you have to worry about where's your next paycheck going to come from, where is money going to come from, or anything like that. But again, that goes all back into everything we had the conversation about in regards to saving plans, investments, and legacy building. Is really comes into the education and the information, because most families don't have the education and information about it. And because they don't, no one takes the time to learn it. And because no one takes the time to learn it, nothing changes. So I think that was, like I said, I just wanted to just kind of add on to that on top of what everyone else said. Because again, you know, as I learn, I always like to be able to inform other people. So I hope that helps.
Oh, yes, it does. I mean, confetti fell from the sky when I learned that it's just a picture of my money in that bank, and that they're taking it and they're putting it elsewhere, and they're using my hard-earned money, because I wasn't given the money. I had to work for the money, and they're taking my hard-earned money and they're playing with it. I was like, oh, they got the wrong one today. So, you know, so yes. So now when I go to banks, it's almost like they're like, oh, she's not going to work with us. She won't leave the money here. She's just running it through. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing y'all doing. I'm using it as a conduit to get it somewhere else. And no, I'm not paying your service fee. I don't care if it is $12. 12 times 12, that's a lot of change. I could do something with that $200, you know, so I can put that into something else. I know it's not a lot to them, but it's a lot to me. So yes, do not get me started on banks, Marcus. You have started a fight. You have started a war when it comes to banks. But anyway, so I forgot Mr. Foreman, so please forgive me. I want to bring Mr. Foreman on. I forgot to ask him his mystery question. He thought he got away. So come on in here, Mr. Foreman. Let me ask you your mystery question. All right, your mystery question is, all right, how did the military prepare you for entrepreneurship?
That's a very good question there. I look at the military as a self-reliance. And, you know, it taught a lot of, like I said, let's go back to what Mr. Griffin was talking about. Let me explain a simple plan that I come up with. And if you worked it for me in the military, you was part of the savings plan. Was no, hey, no, I'm not going to do it. If you worked for me, I make sure that you put money back for savings. And people used to always ask me, how is your soldiers saving 40% of their income in savings? Very simple principle that I came up with a long time ago. And, military, they pays us raises every January, 2 or 4%. And my soldiers, I tell them, don't, that 2 and 4%, you turn around it, start off with 10%, but next year you're going to put that 2 or 4% into a savings plan, which is the TSP program. So now you got 14%. Next year after that, you're going to put that same 4% in there again. Now you got 18% in the savings. And so you did that every year, and now you got 40% going of your money going into a savings plan. You wasn't living on it anyway. So, because you got additional raises for his rank and stuff like that, but that little money there, you make sure that your family is taken care of, later on in life. And that was a guaranteed savings. Now, after you get it in there, then now it's time to manage it. And, so I talked to them about managing their money. And, we went risky because that's the way the economy was. And so we made a lot of money for as the retirement program that way, because, I dictated to them, hey, you part of my team, then you're going to put your money back. And they thanked me after that. But the biggest thing is, hey, I had to convince them the way to think that, not to spend that. And that's what they love afterwards, So Mr. McGriffin is an example, because he was the lieutenant colonel. I was just, I was the sergeant now. So my thing was that being a part of the team, you had to make sure that you save your money. And because they had a lot of young soldiers that didn't know, coming right out of high school, that didn't know how to save money. So it was mandatory. You're part of my team. You're going to put some money back, and, you're going to look out for yourself later on. And retirement is not always too conducive for the military, especially now, because if you don't put anything back in retirement, you don't get the same 20-year plan that I got, 20 years and retire. And so you have to put it back. And so that was one of the mandatory things for us, building a legacy for your family and also for yourself.
All right. So I want to ask this question for Ms. Leah really quick. Before we go to our next slide, I want to give her a chance to answer this question for me. For those of us who got a late start, so I know a lot of times when we hear the information, the light bulb come on, but the person may be 60 years old, they may be 41, they may be 39, or they could be in their 70s, and they, unfortunately, they're just now hearing the information. Fortunately for Marcus, he's at a great pace to get started. He has some time is on his side. But Ms. Leah, what hope do those of us who are just now getting exposed to it, give some hope or some direction, or is it all hope is lost? What is it?
No, not all hope is lost. Like we said before, freedom cost. So it's much more expensive. But if you're in your 50s, you still have time to save. And the good news about it is we're living longer. So your retirement age may not be the 60 or the 62. The longevity or that time horizon has to be longer. So even if you're starting later, you still have time, but you will push off that retirement. And again, it's that sacrifice, sacrifice now, be able to be comfortable later. And so that's really what we're looking at. It does take money, even as Mr. Farman just said, they sacrifice instead of taking their raise and, I'm into the money, got more money. He had them to put that money aside. And so it can grow. So when you're sacrificing like that, it does work, but not without that sacrifice.
All right, so that's where the money resides, guys. It resides in sacrifice, financial education, getting some mentors, getting around people that can give you some sound advice. And sometimes that's not family. And so you need to make sure that you're getting exposed to the information. So if you truly want to build a legacy and have a savings plan and you want to be rolling in the dough, find out what it's going to take for you, because everybody's situation is not the same. So I behoove you, I challenge you to get with a financial advisor, and just kind of, if you don't know where to turn, reach out to the AK Legacy Foundation. We'll help you no matter what state you're in. We'll find someone, connect you with someone. And now that we have virtual, just about everything is virtual, we can definitely partner you up with one of our sponsors that work with us, and that person that we know that's not going to give you any ill advice. And so let's move on to our next segment. And when she said living longer, I thought about, I know that many of us are eating better, we're walking, we're exercising, we're juicing, we're doing the things to have better choices so that we can live longer. So let's get into our last segment before we wrap it up. The biggest of them all the wonderful things we talked about, how to invest your money, how to save it, get a job, don't get a job, start a business, don't start a business, all those wonderful things. Nothing will take place if it doesn't take place in the mind first. So we want to talk about the mindset of entrepreneurship. I think this is my niche. This is where I fall in. This is part of my purpose, working with individuals. When they take a consultation with me, the first thing they want to know is, okay, because I'm a financial strategist. So when they see that, they're like, oh my God, I'm going to meet with Ms. Martin and she's going to tell me how to become rich. And the first thing I ask them, the first lines of questions has nothing to do with money. It's all about the mindset. What is your perception of this? And what are you doing? And what are you saying? And what about your affirmations? And they're like, okay, can we just get to the money? Well, it's not going to do any good. We don't want anybody to get a whole bunch of money, because we can all think of somebody who had a lot of money, don't have any of it today, because it was something that they just didn't have their mind right. so, or they didn't have the right behavior. So let's talk a little bit about the mindset of entrepreneur. I know Ms. Des kind of opened up, Ms. Desiree opened up earlier with us when I asked her, how do she approach someone about the concept of residual earnings? And you can't even have that conversation with some people because their minds are just so far off that they can't see beyond what the government does for government assistance. And this is not a down put on anyone. I can say that, in my earlier years, I had to have government assistance due to my situation, but I didn't stay there because it was something in my mind that says, okay, I'm going to use this as a temporary situation, because it was a temporary situation as far as I was concerned. This is not going to be my life, but it was something in me that gave me that. So what happens when people just don't seem to have the drive to want more? You can't have more than you want. You can't have more than what you see for yourself. So what happens in the mind? So let's talk about the mindset of entrepreneur. I've heard you can't be weak and be an entrepreneur. You know how to say, only the strong shall survive. So let's have a conversation about mindset. Who wants to go first? Okay, so we're all arguing about who's gonna go first.
I'll
go first.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Desiree. Because you're the agent of change, so of course you're gonna go first.
Exactly. I want to start off answering that question like this. At the age of 15, I no longer had a mother or father. Both had passed. So I'm 15, just got married. I'm expecting a baby, and this is my life. Nobody taught me about money. Nobody taught me about a bank account. I knew nothing when it came down to the financial area at all. Only thing I knew how to do was survive. I was going to survive. And at that time, when I was 15, by any means necessary, legal or illegal, that was me. But as I continued to grow and be around other people, and I experienced different things, I saw people doing different things, I wanted that. I wanted more because I knew I could get more. So when I realized that the Lord is so, he is so intelligent. He is so smart. He is so, deserving of all of the accolades that go with him being who he is, the self-existent God. He was so smart that he hid all of our gifts, talents, and abilities on the inside of us so we would never lose them. Right. That's what money is. It's on the inside of you. Right. Your gifts, talents, and abilities. If you find out what they are, and once you find out what they are, you first, like I said, you locate them inside of you, find out what they are, refine them, and you start serving them to the world. Watch your money. Watch how your money grow. When I was growing up, like I said, nobody told me about money. Everything I learned about money, I learned because I wanted more. You can never want more than what you see. I got around other people and I saw, people driving this type of vehicle. I saw people living in this type of house. And I'm like, they're not no different from me. They're really not. I'm human, they're human. If they could get that, I could get that too. What do I need to do? And when I started surrounding myself with people that was giving me insight, they were giving me instruction, they were giving me little nuggets on how to build myself and refine the gifts, talents, and abilities that are in me, that's when I realized that the sky's the limit. I can have whatever I want to have. I can do whatever I want to do, and I can be whatever I want to be. But what I'm finding is dealing with a lot of people, their mindset is so closed off because number one, they don't know who they are and they don't know what's on the inside of them. Everybody that was born, that was launched into this earth realm, with an assignment. Right. And you have everything on the inside of you to complete that assignment, but it's up to you to find out what's on the inside of you, so that you can get that refined and start serving to the world. The graveyard is the richest place on the earth. You know why? Because there's so many people that have died and took all their gifts, talents, and abilities with them to the grave. People were supposed to be serving others with those gifts, talents, and abilities. So a lot of people are born with the cure to AIDS, the cure to certain cancers, the cure for this, to be this type of leader, to be this kind of speaker. But what happened? They were never developed. So those gifts, talents, and abilities, they go to the grave and they never get out to serve the world.
That's right. That's right. So Dr. Bishop, I know you're ready to jump right in. I know you got something to add to that. Come on, Dr. Bishop.
It is hard to follow Miss Des. Woo! Lord Jesus. Let me say this about mindset. It starts with your speech. You mentioned earlier about affirmations. We can have what we say. And the Lord was dealing for me about my speech once, and he said to me this. He said, everything you see, don't say, but everything you say, you will see. I'm like, oh my, woo, that was deep. So what am I saying? My 2-year-old grandson, he was trying to write his alphabets. He's a little genius already. And so he said, Nana, I can't do it. I said, yes, you can do it. You can do anything you want to do. And so rather than me, after that point, rather than me writing the alphabet, he would tell me the alphabet and I would write it for him. But I kept saying, you can do it, you can do it. So after that, he would start just scribbling on the boards. He's even-handed. He would put left and right hand. He just started scribbling on the board until he formed what looks like one of the alphabets. He'll say, big L. He'll say, U. And so what am I saying? We have to start speaking in those things that are not as though they were. I'm a pastor, so I got to preach a little bit. We call forth those things that are not as though they were. Our mind is set by the things that we say. And sometimes my dear friend will say to me, now look, don't say that. And then I had to check myself. I'm like, the Lord has warned me, don't say that. So mindset starts with the mouth. That's where affirmations come in. I was sick one time and everybody want to say, oh, you got cancer, you got this, you got that. I said, no. I said, I don't know what's wrong, but I don't have cancer. I never owned up to having anything. I said, I don't know what's wrong, but no, and no. And I finally went into surgery. I didn't have cancer, but I went into surgery for a 30-minute procedure, and I was in there for 5 hours. And they've called in all kind of special internists and all kind of specialists because I was so sick. But I never owned up to being that sick. It wasn't cancer, but I never owned up to being that sick. My mind was, I'm going to be healed. I'm going to get well. So I just kept saying no to all the negative stuff. I'm whole, I'm healed, I'm well. My saying for my business is create a lasting legacy. Create a lasting legacy. I make investments. I make sacrifices to make investments in the stock market. My sister said, it's going to drop. I said, but it'll come back up. It'll come back up. We do what we have to do, but we're not going to do any more than we say. I woke up this morning. I knew I had to be on top of my game for Miss Candy. I put on a little makeup and did what I had to do, and I'm ready for a nap now. But guess what? In my mind, I have to do this. So tell yourself, I have to do this. Tell yourself you have to do it is half the battle. Say it and watch it come to pass.
That's right. She said, say it, just do it. So who's next? Who wants to jump on in? Come on. Dr. Bishop has preached. Desiree got us started. So, I know we got some follow-up coming. Come on.
Yeah, that's been a few acts hard to follow behind on that. But one thing, the mindset of entrepreneurship You have to dream massive. You have to understand that they're going to be setbacks and disappointments. It's just like I stated earlier. It's like a roller coaster ride. You got to stay on it when it's in its highest point. You got to stay on it. Don't jump off in the middle of it. As it come down, you don't get off that roller coaster until it pulls back up at the starting point. And you just got to stay the course. Be willing and make sacrifices. You're gonna have to make sacrifices, and you're gonna miss a lot of things out, hanging with your friends or doing things with family. And also, you got to have a vision. You got to have a vision. You got to see what you like, what you want for your life, and be willing to think long term and not just for the moment. And with that, you got to surround yourself with people, as we talked about earlier. Yeah, and when you speak those things, you have to also and like Dr. Bishop just stated. I mean, she I thought was gonna have to pass the collection plate a few minutes ago because she started a good sermon. And things that you think about and pray for it. You have before you pray, you got to believe it. You got to believe that, hey, we're gonna claim this. Like she claimed a lot of things, but like when she talked about her health, she claimed that I'm healed already. And you before you speak, you got to listen on what you want to do. And before you spend it, you got to earn it. Before it's getting started, you gotta earn it. And before you write it, you got to think it. And don't quit. Before you quit, you got to at least try it, as we talked about earlier in the business. And before you die, you just got to live. That's why you got to continue to live and leave a legacy. And a lot of things that I heard a pastor say this before. We talked about having money. You never have enough. So he never seen a armored money truck following a hearse to the cemetery. So you got to have that mindset. You got to dream big. I was talking to my younger brother a few weeks ago. He said, "Well, I'm gonna get me an apartment." So no, you're not gonna get an apartment. He's like, "What you mean?" So no, you're gonna get you a house. You're gonna get a house. I said, don't think small. You got to think big about things that you're gonna get. If you're gonna say you're gonna get a car, no. So you're gonna stay what car you want. You might not get that Lamborghini or whatever, but you're gonna get some close. So you can't think small. You got to think large and big on things. You got to see that. You got to have that vision. Once you have that vision and you have that drive to go get it and do it, and stop being get tired of working all the years for a company, and you can work for yourself. Because it's like we say on this platform here, we're on the Zoom network and YouTube. I mean, the sky's the limit now on what you can do. Like we said, right here in these cell phones, we got people watching on this thing from a cell phone. So you just got to dream big and dream massive, and believe that you can do it and that you can't do it. A lot of people are going to tell you no. A lot of people told me, hey, he's not going to do anything. I don't even know why he's in the military. He only been there for 2 years. That gave me motivation. And as we talked earlier, the individual that motivated me, he was a Vietnam vet. He's deceased now. God bless his soul, rest his soul. God bless him as well. He told me, he said, that boy going to be a general in the military. And I didn't ever even think about being an officer in the military, but I got in. And that mindset, it set on me. He said, yeah, I'm going to be a sergeant in the military. And he always used to call me Sarge. And I just kept saying, okay, I'm going to be a sergeant in the military. And I just kept thinking and got mentorship. And as time went on, I became a lieutenant colonel in the military. Never would have thought that this little young boy with no guidance out of high school would become a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army or work 24 years with the federal government. So you got to think big and not small, whatever it is. And I hope I answered your question. It was hard to come behind these individuals. Y'all gave some good information.
You did great, Mr. Lamar, because it's this is the year of women, so it's kind of hard to follow the women. So we're just gonna claim the prize. I'm sorry, guys. We're taking over. Going back to the scriptures, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So y'all just wait and watch us do our thing. This is so awesome and so amazing. I really appreciate all of our panelists that they're going to come and give us some final words, each of them in just a second. I'm going to give a couple of announcements so we can wrap it up. Y'all know we could probably have this conversation all day. That's one thing about being an entrepreneur. Thinking is your thing. We use our hands to talk, not to work. So I talk with my hands. I don't work with my hands. And so and that is not to brag or boast. That is just to give God all the glory and all the honor that He has blessed me such. Because I couldn't sing, I couldn't dance. So I guess He left me with the gift of entrepreneurship. And I'm just so passionate about it. And I can speak for every individual on here. We are passionate about what we do. We want to help everybody. We want to save everybody. I mean, it's just like, if I could just open your mind and pour the information in and close it back up. I mean, and sometimes that's our downfall. As entrepreneurs, we're trying to bring everybody with us. It's hard to leave somebody behind because we know, even though we haven't fully arrived where we can see in our vision, we're much further than where we were. Because we took the chance, we tried, we put forth some effort, we did some training, we got around some people, we got some mentorship, we started asking questions. We just really started doing that. And so that has lit a fire in us. Whether we're still working a job or if we're doing dual or we're full-time entrepreneur, we know that there is something more, like what Ms. Des said. She knew that, hey, they're no different than I. So what must I do to get what they have? And not in a sense of being jealous or coveting what someone else has. We just mean, can I have more for myself? But it all comes in the mindset. And so we're just so passionate about it. And we can spend all day talking about entrepreneurship, but I have some clients, it's tax season. They like, you need to hurry up and get off that live so she can finish my taxes. And I'm sure Mr. Lamarcus can agree to that. I know when we get off of here, we're gonna all be checking our messages. We just have a slew of things. Ms. Desiree probably has somewhere to go. She never still. Ms. Leah got to go and save the world and teach students and just do all the things. And Mr. Farmer, we're not going to be too jealous of you. We're going to let you make it. Him and Dr. Bishop, they just retiring, enjoying it, just chilling, chillaxing. And we got more to do, but that's okay. We're going to be like you guys when we grow up. We're going to be just like you guys when we grow up. We're going to be able to take our nap in the middle of the day. It's coming. I'm going to speak it. Like she said, speak it into existence. So until that day, we're going to go ahead and wrap up so that these wonderful entrepreneurs and retirees can get back to their day. But before they come and give us their final words, their final piece of advice for us, I want to ask everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Simply go to YouTube, type in AK Legacy Foundation, look for our logo, that's us. Like, subscribe, share the channel. We are working with different organizations and different nonprofit organizations. Like I mentioned earlier, the Yes Foundation. Well, what happens when we can get the right amount of subscribers and followers, that will help bring attention to the work that we're doing. We're not doing it just for likes. We're doing it for the efforts. And we, and so that is part of our mission today. That's why we have the AK Legacy Foundation Ask the Experts webcast. It's to bring awareness to financial literacy to those around the country, to teach that there are other options, to give exposure. We're not saying our way is the only way or the right way. We're just saying there are other options. And so we want you all to be aware of what's out there. I know in this generation, it's information overload. But you have to have a discernment and you have to get around like-minded people. And so this is a wonderful way to do it. It didn't cost any airfare or travel to get here on this webcast. Just simply like and subscribe and follow us, give us some shout outs, mention our name, because when you help us to be able to help others. We don't want to leave anybody behind, but we know we can't. And I'm only going to take 1 or 2 questions that came in. Because of time. So one of the questions was how to be on the webcast as a panelist. That is an excellent question, kind of follows up to what I just got through speaking about. Go to our website, aklegacyfoundation.org. If you have a product or a service that could better our community, you want to share your information, go to our website and just go to Ask the Experts. And the very first part of it, it says, do you want to be a panelist? Fill out that form. We will get in contact with you. We are eager to work with you all, even though it's our mission to educate the community. But this is also a great opportunity for you as a panelist to advertise your business, your product, your services, your ministry, your nonprofit organization, or just your intellectual property, whatever that you have that you want to share with the world. Like Ms. Des said, we don't want to go to the grave with this knowledge. We want to share it, and we want to also have an opportunity to monetize on it. So if you want to be on our panel, just go and fill it out. And I'll take one other question. That's going to kind of lead into, because some people want to know, who are you all? How do we get in touch with you? So I'm going to allow our panelists to give us some final closing piece of advice if you had to leave us with one thing, and then tell us how people can get in touch with you just for a question, or if they want to just kind of learn more about what it is that you actually do. Because, as an entrepreneur, they think we just, life is just a la-la land and we're just, on a bed of roses all day, but I don't know. It's not for the weak at heart. So we'll do, I'll go in the order of the flyer. Let's start with Dr. Bishop, and we'll work our way down, and then we'll start back up again with Mr. Roosevelt. So Dr. Bishop, you go first.
Thank you, Ms. Martin, for the invitation, and thank all of you panelists for allowing me to be on the platform with all you great leaders. My last words are, I want to just quote the scripture, 3 John 2, beloved, above all things, my desire for you is that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prosper. So with that scripture, I like to leave these words: know who you are, take care of yourself spiritually, physically, and financially. God is concerned about the whole person. And whatever it is you strive to do, make sure that the whole person can be at peace with it. Thank you, Ms. Candy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I don't know if you know it.
I'm sorry. You said how to reach me. The best way to reach me is email me at my name, Deetra Bishop, DetraBishop, Deetra Bishop @gmail.com. That's the easiest way to reach me. And then from there, I'll give you other information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I don't know if you know it or not, but that scripture, John 1 and 2, or John 2, depending on the one of the argument. Don't say one, say one. I don't know. But anyway, that is the key scripture for not just for my business, Martin Business Solution, but that is also the key scripture for the AK Legacy Foundation. We believe that God is concerned about the whole man, your mental state, your wellness, your spiritual, your finances, your emotion. And so I'm so thankful that you brought that out. So Mr. Lamarcus Griffin.
Yes. Once again, thank you for inviting me to this platform. I enjoy the whole everyone on here. I'm taking a lot of notes from everybody. So it was a pleasure. One thing I can say, if you, as far as getting into your business or want to get advice on things, or you stuck at a stop right now, I would say do these things. Don't wait for the inspiration from others. Inspire yourself. Because right there, you already got the will to want to go ahead and start your business. Right there, you're always saying you want to do it. So just go ahead and do it. Don't worry about the naysayers again. Don't worry about that thing, and don't complain about it. So if you started it, don't complain about it. Just continue to go forward with it, and try to don't compare yourself to others. Don't try to do that comparison. Don't try to be like the Joneses, as we say, or the next door neighbor. Be who you are and think big with that vision that you have, and you're gonna make mistakes along the way. You're gonna make mistakes, so don't try to be a perfectionist. None of us perfect on here. We went through a lot of trials and tribulations to get to where we at, and just make your life goals where you want to be at with the next 2 to 3 to 5 years. You can set it up monthly or yearly on your goals that you want to set. Don't be afraid of failing, like we said. Living other people's life, don't do that. Live your own life, and you're growing your success. Another thing that I was in the store the other day, and I seen this coffee cup that I had. I said, well, I ought to get it, but I just want to bow because I saw it. But I might go back to get it because it made sense, and I wrote down what it said on my little to-do list in the grocery store. And it said this: never be afraid to try something new. Remember, amateurs built the ark and professionals built the Titanic.
All right.
So, once again, way to contact me, my full name, Lamarcus Griffin @bellsouth.net. Send me an email, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. The professionals built the Titanic, and we know how that went. All right, I'm motivated now. I can go do some things. All right, Miss Daz, Miss Daz.
Yes, ma'am. I want to thank you, Miss Candy, for allowing me to be in the presence of all of these great leaders today. And what I want to leave with everyone is this: never despise small beginnings. What you have been called to do is not about you. It's for someone else. All of the trials and tribulations that you're going to face, because they're coming. You don't have to, worry about that. They're coming. But you're going to go through them. You're going to go through. They didn't come to stay. They came to pass. So you're going to go through them. And with the right mindset of going through them, you're going to grow through them as you go through them. And like I always tell my children, I don't care what they say. I don't care what she say. I don't care what he say. It's about what the Lord says about me, because he created me and he don't make junk. So what you were given to do is going to blow the minds of many, because many have probably counted you out, but that's okay because they can't count. That's okay. But remember this, Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The sky's the limit. With Christ in the front, you can go wherever you want because the angels got your back. Now, to reach me, you can reach me at thechangeagent67@gmail.com. That's the change, CHANGE, agent 67@gmail.com. Thank you again, Ms. Candy, for this wonderful session.
All right, the change agent. Gonna get your mind right, get your money right, get you hooked up with the Lord. I mean, you just can't lose. All right, Miss Leah Hall.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Candy. This has been such a blessing to be around like-minded people talking about how we can get our money right. And I tell you what, as you guys have said, that God wants us to prosper and live in abundance. And that actually means something different to everybody. Like everybody said here, don't worry about what other people are doing. What are you doing about yourself and being in alignment with what God has for you? Because what he has for you is for you. And so what we do with Wealth Wave and How Money Works Company is we actually find out where you are. Where are you today? And then where do you want to go? And we help you build a personal financial plan that will work for you. And yes, we will hold you accountable to make the sacrifices that you said that you wanted to do. So I just enjoyed being here today. I am here to serve and help you become the person that you want to become with the finances that you want to have. And so I am Leah Hall. You can email me at my name, leahhall3@gmail.com, LEAHALL3@gmail.com.
That is awesome. If we were in person, I probably would have bear hugged Miss Leah, because I promise you, she sounded like me. I heard me echoing back. And so when you get around like-minded people, that's what it should be for you. They should be in alignment with where you're trying to go. Even if they have a different perspective or a different way to do it, they should at least be going in the same direction, pushing you in the same direction that you're going, so they you don't want anyone that's going to be a distraction. And so Miss Leah Hall is nothing of a distraction. And when she said accountable, I just said, ooh, because I know she gave me a to-do list. I got to get to it. Miss Leah don't play no games. She will call you at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night and be like, hey, you got that for me? I'm like, okay, I'm on it. So she is definitely someone you want in your corner. And so come on, Mr. Marcus. We are going to hear from the next generation. Come on, Mr. Marcus. Give us some words of advice. And that's one thing really quick. To all of my seasoned entrepreneurs who got it together and they know everything, you can learn a thing or two from younger people.
Yeah.
And then if you don't believe that, try to use the iPhone and don't know what you're doing. Who you gonna call? You're not gonna call somebody. You're gonna call your little cousin, your little nephew, your grandson. You're gonna call somebody younger. So take that same principle when it comes to business. Find out what's going on. You want to be where they are. So come on, Mr. Marcus, give us some advice.
All right. All right. Well, once again, thanks so much for having me on here with all of you. I was able to, again, get some valuable information. I firmly believe, again, you're able to learn from anyone. It doesn't matter, what they look like or what their age is. You can learn from anyone. But in regards to closing remarks, what I'll leave with everyone on here and for all the people that are listening is you can't think like everyone else and expect something different. It's free to think big, but it costs you money to think small. So the next time that you put yourself in a situation where you're worried about what someone else said to you, or you're bothered by someone else's opinion or negative thoughts are flourishing in your mind, just remember again that it costs you no money to think bigger. And what's important to know and understand is that nothing is as hard as it seems. Sometimes most of the hardest things that we've been able to do in life, once we accomplish them, we really saw that it wasn't as hard as we thought. So that's just important. If you are looking for me, you can find me on social media on all platforms at I am Marcus RD. That's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I'm everywhere. You can find me on all those platforms. And again, if you're an emailer, I heard everybody give their email. So you can email me at iammarcusrd@gmail.com. So thanks again for sharing the platform, and I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Kim.
All right. Of course, he had the Instagram, Snapchat, and all the other platforms. My kids told me, okay, look, we gave you Facebook. Don't come over here. So as far, but we are on Instagram, the AK Legacy Foundation. We are on Instagram, so please follow us. We're on YouTube. Please follow us. So I want to thank each and every one of our panelists. I thank you all for your time. I thank you for the wealth of information, the inspiration, the correction, just everything. I just feel like when we get off of here, we need to apply this information, not just, oh, this was a great webcast. Which it was, I want to commend every person that spoke.
Mr. Farmer.
Mr. Farmer. Yeah, Mr. Farmer. Wait a minute. Hold him up. Mr. Farmer. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to give you your own show because I have forgotten you 3 times today. I think that's a sign that we're gonna have to have Mr. Farmer. We're gonna have to do a one-on-one special roll out the red carpet with Mr. Farmer. So come on, Mr. Farmer, help us out.
Thank you, Ms. Candace, for having us on. It's been a great pleasure being on with just such great dynamic people, and I love this, but I look at everything this way, everything goes by mindset, but there's also a lot of discipline that goes into this. Discipline means that, instead of me going out and buying that $200 pair of tennis shoes that I don't need, I take that $200 and invest it into and make my own money instead of buying somebody. It's okay to have those $200, but instead of me going out paying somebody else taxes or interest on a car, I pay cash for that car. And the discipline goes into that. But of all things, keep an open mind as an entrepreneur. Open your mind up because even the very platform that we're working on today, stocks is if you're gonna use it, my mentor always tell me, why not have stocks in it? I love Starbucks coffee, so of course I got Starbucks coffee, so those things you have to keep an open mind in. You got cell phones. Why not buy stocks? In those companies, keep an open mind. The smallest things that are going around, it doesn't take much. But, when you take that little bit and build, just starting off a little, one person said, if you begin to take one step, a journey of 1,000 miles, begin that first step. If you take that first step, no matter how small it is, and you build up on it by keeping that open mind, by looking for opportunities, plan for opportunities. A lot of people don't plan for opportunities, so opportunities don't ever come to them because their mind is closed. Open your mind up. Opportunities are available to you. And of course, I'll finish the course. Finish the course. Because don't just start something and just stop. In other words, just quit. Finish the course. Then go on to the next thing. And that's above all. I wish you your soul prosper and even all that, in finance and everything else, because we only have you're only given a one life here. I always look at it this way. Every time I go to the graveyard, I always look. No matter how long that person lived, that little dash is about that long for everybody. That way they stayed there 90 years. So you only got one life. Live the best life. Live a prosperous life. And that's what it's all about. You can reach me at one way, the number one way out.acn@gmail.com. Thank you, Ms. Candace.
All right, one way out. I'm telling you. And back to, and before I forget, Marcus said something, and I heard it again when Mr. Roosevelt former spoke. He said, it costs you nothing to learn or to hear, but it costs you everything to think small. Come on in the room. And then Mr. Farmer closed it out. He was talking about discipline, not quitting, having longevity, having some stick to it, having some endurance. This is all great advice. I don't know. I'm going to have to watch the replay so that I can take some notes. But this has been awesome. It has been phenomenal. We are asking for those of you who are watching either on YouTube or here on the Zoom with us, those of you that are watching the replay, go to our website, consider making a donation, a contribution. This month, we are working with the Yes Foundation. We are still doing some work with those, with a charity out in Texas, making sure that the people there have the necessities that they need, such as food and water. So we're doing those things in a disaster recovery portion, and we are also doing the financial literacy. We're working with organizations like Ms. Leah Hall with How Money Works. This is her book. We are sponsoring some people with this book so that they can get the information and the knowledge, and so that they can have some understanding. So if you want to be a blessing to bless someone else so that they can get their mind right and so that they can make a change and put forth some effort, go to the website, check us out. This is Women's History Month, so we're doing a lot of things for some women that want to start a business. They may be a single mom, or it may be someone that just fell on hard time. So we want to be a blessing to others and getting them in a position to even just think about having more. And we don't want to just talk about it and be inspirational. We want to be doers. We want to be movers and shakers. And so we're asking for your partnership. You can make a one-time donation, or you can be a recurring sponsor partner. Get with us if you would like to come on the platform and share your information. Sometimes it may just be time to volunteer. We reach all across the nation, so we're not just here in our home state of Louisiana, but we do reach across the nation. And so go to our website, check out what we're doing. The replay will be posted here later on the website, and of course you can watch it on YouTube at any time. So I want to thank our panelists. I want to thank everyone. I just appreciated all the knowledge, all the information that you all shared with us on today. There could be no monetary value to that. It was timeless, it was priceless, and I appreciate that, because each of you came on here out of an in-kind donation. You did not solicit for any type of pay. So I thank you. And I appreciate you all, because I do truly believe that you sow, you will reap. And so I pray that you all have bountiful blessings, that your businesses and your families, that it flourish. And no, I'm not going to start preaching, but hey, it is who I am. I do believe in the power of prayer. I believe Mr. Marcus kind of mentioned that earlier. Dr. Bishop talked about affirmation. Ms. Desiree talked about us seeing and having more. Ms. Leah talked to us about having a real conversation about our finances. She stated one of my very exact mission statements. I do bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be. And so I thought that was awesome and phenomenal. And we thank Mr. Marcus for bringing us some energy on here. And it is so good. And we're so proud to see young men doing things in the community, and not to be biased. And because the AK Legacy Foundation, we are not discriminatory based on sex, race, or creed, but it is great to see young Black men doing other positive things because of the things that we do see in the media. So we are so proud of you, Mr. Marcus. I think you get a round of applause from all of us to know that there is hope and that there is more to do. And so we just thank everyone. And once again, to reach me, you go to aklegacyfoundation.org and go to the contact page. Anything that I can do to assist you, let me know, and we'll find out. If it's not through the foundation directly, we can partner you up with someone or an organization that can. So with that being said, that concludes our Ask the Expert segment for today. It has been an honor and a privilege to be before you all. I am going to go and read the comments over on YouTube. And so if you have a question, put it in there. I will respond to you as soon as possible. If you want to email us, it's info@aklegacyfoundation.org. Go on the website, let us know how we were able to help you. And so just thank you all. Thank you all for your time. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in with us here on Ask the Experts with the AK Legacy Foundation. You all have a great day. Be blessed.